my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we're taking a look at another Summer Jam Dance Camp class. It is Sean and Audrey. I'm pretty pumped about this because I know Audrey from Street Woman Fighter Season 2 representing Jam Republic, and I've known Sean since he was like 14. So I remember seeing him in classes and then seeing him now be an artist, and I think it's really cool. I definitely admire his movement quality and his choreography, and he also uses John Bellion regularly, and that's one of my favorite artists and producers. So anybody who uses John is a friend of me. So we're gonna go ahead and check out the class. I'm also trying out a subtly newer format on how I'm doing the videos, just so I can have like my reaction a little bit bigger, but not take away from the integrity of what we're watching either. So you guys let me know if how you feel about the format. If you don't know that there's a difference, cool. That's also good information to know too. So let's go ahead and get started. That looks like a really fun class. The ISOs on this. Yeah. I like the subtlety. Dope. Nice. I like it when we get to see exchanges like this because we get to feed off of each other and how they said it. Yeah! That was good. That was clean. That was dope. Yeah, okay. We can't watch this one yet. I know who's in it. It looks like a vibe, but we're gonna go from the top and take a look here. So they do a great job tone setting on it, and you can kind of tell whenever the end of the choreo is the end of the choreo. So right here, they set it up. I always appreciate something with Sean specifically, and I've said this a couple of times now because I've looked at some of his early stuff. I always appreciate that he makes the choice of when to infiltrate the music, not the other way around. They tone set, and I think Audrey, her movement quality and Sean's movement quality are very complementary in this choreo. So this looks like a very successful collaboration, if you ask me, because I can see nuances of Audrey's, I would say like how she does some of her choices do give off a puppeting influence. Now, do I think she's a popper? I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but I feel like she may have gleaned those types of, boogaloo techniques as a part of her movement quality, which I love. It's super beautiful to watch, but also it makes you think, and she can pull off a lot of really good abstract concepts. Sean also can as well, and he's very versatile. And so it's just really fun, and I think this just felt really enjoyable to watch. It made me want to learn this one. So out of Candyman with Bada and Kirsten and this one, that one felt like a house party and a whole vibe. This one felt like technique, like ISO heaven. Like for me, I would love to learn this just because of the isolations in it. It's really enjoyable and feels very satisfying. The subtlety there, I love how she teeters her head to set it up. Really fun. It's like they're creeping around. Really cool. They're like, hey, look over there, I like how they're crouching, tone setting, like I've mentioned. They're doing a good job of establishing where they are, what the song means to them and how they interpret the choreo. Because the choreography is a visual representation of the track, and it feels like a collaboration. between your music and your movement. And so I really appreciate the fact that they're taking the time to sit in the music with the music, but they're not, but it doesn't feel like they're forced to do something because the music calls for it. It definitely feels complimentary, like it's like a give and take. And I really love that. And it makes it very captivating, which I feel like a lot of people have said for this one. So there's a chance I may 0.75 it. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on how quick it is. I mean, it's pretty quick, but I think I could be able to pick it up. I like how they go down, ding, ding, ding. I love the intention of everybody around. They're watching, they're focusing. Really cool. Come back in. That little whoo, notice that whoo, when they take the leg, they do a nice little attitude around the back. Then they take a full range of that back and swing those arms down. Back is going to be your best friend on this one. It's what makes it look powerful and full, but showcases a wider range than if you're throwing your arms, because they are allowing the hip hinge and that back to allow that moment to take place in that fullness. It's really nice. They take it through. Then you do see Audrey like throw her arm down. It looks more like a place on Sean. It's little details like that that make me, this is class. And I like the fact that they're doing it subtly differently, because I said this about Bada and Kirsten's, and I'll say it here just in case this is your first time watching me like look at these. There's beauty to be had whenever you watch collab classes, because if they don't do it the exact same, it gives you grace as a student, regardless if they say it or not. Oh, I don't have to look just like them because they don't look like each other. And there's beauty to be had in that, right? Now there's choreographies like Waxy and Yoonji that there's a certain degree of intimidation with it, because there's a certain level of synchronicity that will be subconsciously required of you, or that you will require of others when you see them do that. Like the swipe challenge from the second season of Street Woman Fighter. Regardless if that is like like the best intention, that's just what we do subconsciously nowadays. But in this case, I really like it. Like, I'm excited to see the groups and just see their perspective on it. I think it's really cool. But how they place it down, I like how they thread it through first and then they're isolating through. It's the same joint pattern that you would do like a broken isolated wave. So that's really fun. I liked seeing that. They take it through the ISO, then they take it, pull it through. Notice Audrey pulled it with her hand. Sean just took the head and moved it through. I like that part. Boom, right there. That's your little scarecrow kind of hand right there. Love it. Then they take it with the fingers. They're going to allow it to pull and reset those hips. And then they're going to add a little chug, which is very interesting because they're already on one leg. Normally you see a chug like that when they're on two legs to come up, but because the one leg's already up, that's way more difficult. So you have to use your hips in that bend of that standing leg effectively to create that visual. And so that's what makes that difficult, is because it's not coming off of two legs. You're already on one leg and you just prepped and isolated to prep for this. So that was cool. They take it through, and then as soon as they chug it, they reset. So they have to switch the hips over to swing it through and create a really nice vibe there. And then they take it down, and then once again, a range check. They really have to use that core, hinge at the hips, place the weight near the heels, swing that arm nice and back. Love it. And you can tell Audrey, girl, love it. I mean, of course, with tuts, I mean, stuff like this, like she's done a pretty good job of maintaining really clean tuts. So that's impressive for how quick that is. Then they swing it up, takes it, boom, boom. And I like how this triggers an effect of the reset over to the side. Then you could really see Sean's, honestly, it's not really an overshoot. He has really nice flexibility in his upper back. So you can really clearly see it all the way through. They're facing about the same direction. You say maybe Sean's teeter just a little bit to the back corner, just a little bit. It could also be camera angle, but they're taking it, really nice choice. It looks like it's complementing what's going on with the head. So they're taking it, they're rotating, ding, ding, ding. I really like that, whatever's going on with the hand. So it's like a little controlling moment, which makes scarecrow hands and puppeting really work well in the overall like texture, because a lot of the movement is going to be isolated and there's a control or a trigger point with it, and all of those things kind of work together in mindset on when you think control, what do you think of in dance? These are really good things that complement each other very well. So the jump on that was just cool right there. Once again, stability check. They're right there on the left leg. Nice little Ranajam on layer. I wouldn't really call it a Ranajam. I mean, you can. It's not really technically like a technically correct Ranajam, but it's the, the rotation of the leg and like an onde, I think it's like an onde or position. There's Ande Dan and Ande Or. Ande Or is going out the door. That's how you know. That's how I can separate it in ballet class. Anyway, but I like that, and they take it with the chest to complement it. I love it. So it's subtly polyrhythmic too, but the polyrhythm helps establish environment more so than the polyrhythm itself is the focal point. So the difference with that is if you look at a choreographer like Keone Madrid, he's done a lot of K-pop work too. You can tell with a lot of his movement, if you look at, there's like a certain part of BTS's choreography. It was like Fire, Dope, On, a lot, that whole era, not On, sorry, Not Today, because On was with Sienna. But like Not Today, like that little era specifically, you can see there's a lot of like polyrhythmic footwork to complement what's going on with the upper body. I noticed that a lot with Sean, but he sets a lot of it up more so in environmental polyrhythms than the polyrhythm as like a focal point. And what I mean by like the focal point is you can itemize and see something very clearly going on in the upper body and something very clearly going on in the lower body. But here in this case, you have the chest that's complementing what the legs are doing, but the legs are the focal point, right? So that's something that like, that's just as impressive because it's all polyrhythms and it helps you match certain parts of your music or incorporate multiple parts of your music, which is going to up your difficulty of musicality comprehension too, which I think is really fun. Take it through, whoop, a nice little head ISO. I'm a sucker for head ISOs. I love it. They take it through very clear. Then they take it ding, 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 woo. And they take that subtlety of the wrist rotation, really nice. Then right there, they do a little bass with the feet and they just make it a whole vibe. I like how Audrey's doing the choreo. It looks really fitting to her and I like how Sean's doing it too. It's just such a vibe. It's really cool. Right here, they're going to take that hand. It's very similar to what they did in the beginning, but they're going to swing it over to their, it looks like their left side. Then they take it, boom, through the hips and you can really see the range of the upper back on Audrey for this part. She swings it all the way around. Then we do a nice little turn. Then we take it, little swipe. It does remind me of something that you would do in tap. I don't quite know what the move is. And then you see, I think with Sean, he's doing like a full rotation. It kind of feels like they did their own choice, which I really like. Once again, allows you to take the risk because they're taking different choices within that, which I think is super, super cool. And from here, you see them come up, that little dee-dee-dee-dee. I like that, where they kind of bleed it up with the wrists, and then they have a nice little moment there. Super cool. Nice little bounce on that as well. Then that right here, you see that Sean's controlling her. She does a nice little body roll to get a reset. I really like that choice. Super cool. That right there, and then she takes it. She bleeds it over with the hand. She could have gotten away with a little wrist ISO, but understanding how to itemize the wrist from the hand allows you to have a lot of these kinds of choices because you can either isolate here or you can isolate here or you can like complement your elbow with it, but because you have the fluency of you know, separating that wrist. So I really love that choice. You can see Sean complementing it above, taking it through that boom, nice little base there. They fold it in, nice moment there. Now this could be something that is a little different than what's going on in the choreo, but they kind of partnered it together because it's their collab, so they can make that choice. I like that little boom. That was dope. Really cool. Then they take it through, ding, ding, good chance that all this is still choreo that they taught, and I like that where they separate it, take it, boom, they accent, and then they cause a wave to take place, but they keep it nice and fixed, ding, ding, boom, so it allows, I know you can't see it because of my camera shot, but yeah, it's just, I like seeing those moments where they trigger it from down below. Once again, another controlling method, they trigger it to create that wave. Really, really nice. Then they take it, throw it back, nice little upper back usage there. Then they take it, jig, boom, boom, nice little, I think that looks like a little, not really a sidewalk, but you know, like a little restriction, similar to how you would set up a house step, like a sidewalk. I like that choice. Take it through, they pick up the feet, they take it, nice little kick, and then they accent it in their own way. Once again, very effective, very captivating, because they're both committed to their own story, which I really like. Then right here, I may go back to points, like regular speed, because we technically talked to the choreo. This is them doing their own thing. I love how she's watching and appreciating. He takes it through. I love that choice. He wraps it and then matches the music, but notice he itemized that body roll as he came up, that made it ping pong off of his body as he came up, which I thought was really cool. Matched the control and the trace of the arms, takes it, makes it very full, boom, using that upper back. Love that. The subtlety there, boom, then he drops right there into a nice little like knee drop where he kind of folds it in, and then he creates a really nice floor work opportunity to swivel up, takes it and he switches it through, feels like he does a CC before he resets it, swings it around. I love that choice. He comes up, love it, does a little barrel jump, a little heel tap on that. And that little woo, I love that. That was cool. That was a really fun way to reset using that body. And then he kind of does a little mini ISO with the head. Really cool to match that sound because that sounds like a whirl. God, excuse me, in the music, right? And so you hear this kind of funnel. And so how he funneled it up, that's what felt very complimentary there. I love that. That little notice, so that is a vibration. Some people may say that's ticking. It is not ticking. It is vibration. Ticking is its own style under the Boogaloo umbrella. Here, that was a nice technique. That sound, just like I made it. It's your tongue that switches, just like when you hear vibrato, it switches between new notes in your vocal cords. That's why vibration feels very complimentary there. It's because that sound, when it gets made, it makes that same simulation whenever you hear it in other contexts. So I love that. That he takes it and swings it through that boom, love that in the back. He takes it, makes it a moment. Now, is he doing a vibration for that part? I don't know. Maybe, hold on, let me look. Maybe, I don't know if the camera caught it though. I don't know if it was his hand that was doing it, but I like that. And then he takes it over. Love that choice, and he runs away. This part was really cool. They swivel it around. This was really cool, and she picks up that leg, complements it very well. She's pushing her weight onto the heel, nice and stable. That was probably one of the coolest moments. Very organic interaction, and I bet for them, they're like, that was dope. That was a really cool moment. I love seeing that there. And then she takes his arm and pulls it under, and she said, here we go, takes it around. I love that. Really good way to introduce Audrey. She said, let's go. She makes it and leaves it as an opportunity to do some switch outs on that, threading through. Love that, and brrr, all the way through. That was freaking dope. I really, really liked that. And for me, out of the classes I've seen, I mean, I've only seen 2, including this one. I really like this one. This will probably be like a top 3 if I look at all the classes. This one looks fun, and I think I personally would enjoy it because it's more in complementary to the wheelhouse that I'm more implicitly familiar with, like with isolations. I love isolations, and I love it when they're done well on a musicality front, and I think they did a fantastic job. And they also showcase, like I said, individuality, even though they tone set complementary. And that allowed, for me, I would feel that as a student, just like with Bada and Kirsten, for them it was more like a communal party. Here it's like a technical party, you know? It's like, woohoo, all the technical isolators unite, you know? It just looks so fun. So I'm excited to see what the groups are going to be for this. It's going to be really, really cool. So we have Baby Jam in the house. I think we got about like 3 of them right here. Boom, boom, boom. And then we got, she looks familiar, but I can't quite place her. And then it looks like we got a couple people from, we got somebody from Superkill too. So that beginning, it looks like they don't think they choreographed. Yeah. Oh no, it paused. Please hold. Ooh, nice. You could tell with some of them, isolations are not their wheelhouse that they do as often as other styles because it's not as clear. Does that make sense? But there's beauty to be had in that though. There you go. I knew she was gonna pop off. Yeah! Because when you saw her audition in Street Dance Girl Fighter, it was that style. Alright, we got the boys in the house. Who's in this group? They keep moving! I mean, that's the whole point, right? Also, please note too, you don't know if this is the first class of the day or the 5th class of the day. So the fact that you can see people go for it, incredible choreo retention. For me, I'm like a one and done. I take 1 class and I'm a happy camper for the day. A lot of these guys, they're like taking 5 classes. The teachers are taking like 5 classes. It's a whole vibe. So everybody does a pretty good job for the most part. Like honestly, we can always be impressed and admire when we do select groups, because for me, a lot of times I end up losing a lot of the retention of the choreo because the environment is different. But that's just a me thing. That's a psychological thing for me that I'm always growing in. Never shy away from those opportunities to grow. Ah, cool. We got some young ones in here. Fun. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Bow, 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 bow. Love it. Yeah. That's a really big space. This is cool. I know people can be intimidated by this style, but the reason, I'm going to tell you why it feels that way, especially in like the commercial scene. So like the scene where you see a lot of the, like a lot of crew choreographies, a lot of that kind of stuff. I really feel like people can find a degree of intimidation by it because there's so much texture and threaded in the technique, not just technique. Right? It's different than like Kinjaz. Kinjaz, I think, has a very like textbook refinement on ISOs. Their textures are very different than how Sean and Audrey do it. But if you really look at the techniques for what they are, there's just a lot of isolated polyrhythms that a lot of people don't get if they don't take classes from these types of choreographers often, which is fine. And I think that's absolutely fine. But I'm just saying, as somebody who I do this style, choreographically and physically, because I also am a waver too, and so a lot of isolations can really help showcase dynamics within waving. I'm just a fan of it because it's such an interesting way to showcase intimacy of movement through subtlety. That's just my personal niche. Now, how would I do if I took this class? I don't know. Part of me could probably do great and part of me could bomb it. I mean, if most classes that I take, that's what happens is like I have a couple really great runs that I love, and hopefully I got them on my camera at the front of the room, and sometimes when I get called out and be shot in the camera, I blank and I turn into a hot mess express. I experience both, but that allows me to stay humble because I get humbled real quick in those senses. But all that to say, like, I really, really like this choreo. And as somebody who enjoys the style, I wish, then I appreciate that there's a lot of people who, it looks like a lot of people, this was a newer style for them, or in a choreographic context, a newer style of difficulty for them to explore. And I really liked seeing that. And I also appreciate it. I'm always a fan when I see just the whole class take it, because it allows people who may be beginners at dance, or those who may be very intimidated by this type of class. Anybody can take it and you can still learn something. Even if the choreography may be deemed too advanced for you, you can still learn something from the class, and vice versa. If you're an elite level dancer or a choreographer or whatever, you taking a beginner class, you can learn so much from that. That's why I love taking like fundamental groove classes. Regardless of if I think I have my grooves in check, I can learn so much from somebody else's verbiage of the same information that I myself have already learned. Like, there's something you can always learn in no matter the difficulty. And I think this was a really cool example. You get to see that visually, hopefully as a sense of you can be like, hey, they did it, maybe I can too. Because I think you can. I think honestly too, and I think Sean and Audrey, I don't know how they teach, but it looks like they did a pretty good job in the sense of understanding what the key elements were and giving them the creative freedom to be able to explore those elements as well. So for me, I like this. This was great. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. I do, at this point in time, I think I have like one other that I'm scheduled to take a look at, but hopefully my goal is to look at more from these classes. I love looking at class footage, because for me, I feel like there's so much that we can learn and observe from just watching people take class. It's great, and it's always really nice to see people that we've seen on other factors like the Street Fighter franchise, seen them from, for me domestically in classes, some class footage there. When you see them in crew performances, it's just really fun to see them take class and grow and learn, because at the end of the day, that's the beauty of it all, right? Is to be able to grow and learn and to just always be a student and to always learn something new. And I feel like everybody got to do that here. So once again, my name is Jess. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.